Picture yourself scrolling at 2 a.m., half awake, fingers moving quicker than reason. One more clip, one more laugh, one more spark of novelty to feed that silent ache. You tell yourself you're in control, that you decide what you watch. Yet beneath that glowing screen, invisible algorithms whisper what to crave next. Your desires are being predicted and then manufactured. Plato once described prisoners chained inside a cave, forced to stare at a wall where shadows pass in front of them. They have never seen anything else, so they mistake those flickering shapes for reality itself. Now, imagine that cave has become digital, and the firelight has turned into a screen of pixels. Are the thoughts moving through your mind truly yours? Or are they echoes sculpted by a machine that knows you better than you know yourself? And if reality can be engineered through attention, what does that make your soul? The real problem is not that you scroll. It is that something else is quietly scrolling you. Your attention, your curiosity, even your boredom have become raw materials in an invisible marketplace. You feel free because you can choose any video or creator, yet the deeper choice, what kind of mind you are becoming through these choices, rarely appears in your awareness. Plato believed that most people live among images of truth and mistake opinions, trends, and appearances for what is ultimately real. Carl Jung warned that when you ignore the deeper self and cling to the mask, you become easy to control because you no longer know what you truly want. In that state, you are not a person seeking meaning. You are a bundle of reflexes seeking stimulation. The feed does not just respond to your desires. Over time, it educates them. Slowly, the cave stops feeling like a prison and starts feeling like home. You do not notice the chains tightening because they arrive as convenience and entertainment. Each swipe is a tiny vote for a certain kind of brain, one trained to chase the next hit of stimulation, rather than stay with a single demanding thought. Platforms exploit variable rewards, the same mechanism seen in slot machines, where unpredictable bursts of novelty and pleasure keep your dopamine system on edge, always expecting and rarely satisfied. Your nervous system learns a dangerous lesson, that anticipation feels better than presence. Long attention, needed for philosophy, deep work, or honest self-reflection, begins to feel painful. Meanwhile, your identity rewires itself around what receives quick feedback. Studies on social media and identity suggest that feeds act like mirrors, reflecting back a narrow algorithm-shaped version of who you are, until you begin to confuse that reflection with your real self. The result is not just distraction, it is a shrinking of your inner world. Change begins the moment you suspect that what feels like you might actually be an algorithm wearing your face. The first radical act is not deleting your apps. It is doubting your impulses. When you feel the urge to open the feed for just a second, you pause and ask who taught you to crave this feeling. In that small gap between impulse and action, a different self can speak, one that wants more than the next microdose of distraction. Plato would say that this is the soul turning away from shadows toward the light. His theory of recollection suggests that truth is not injected into you from outside. It is remembered from within. Your mind carries an ancient memory of justice, beauty, and goodness, eternal forms that no algorithm can manufacture. To seek them is already to resist. Viktor Frankl, in a very different cave, surrounded by barbed wire instead of pixels, discovered that even when everything is taken from you, one freedom remains: the power to choose your attitude, to decide what your suffering means. When you consciously choose what to give your attention to, you exercise that same inner sovereignty. You are no longer just consuming a feed. You are shaping a soul. There is a deeper twist in this conflict between Plato and TikTok. The algorithm is not your real enemy. Your real opponent is the part of you that prefers the cave. Aldous Huxley imagined a future where people would not need to be forced into obedience, because they would love their own servitude, softened by endless pleasure and distraction. That future is close whenever entertainment becomes so rich that you no longer feel the absence of meaning. Plato offers a different vision. Truth is not another piece of content. It is the light by which all content is seen. When you align your mind with what is genuinely good, rather than what merely feels good, everything else comes into focus. Scrolling becomes less tempting, not because you are forcing yourself, but because you have tasted a different quality of reality. The final realization is simple and unsettling. No platform can ultimately control your thoughts if you reclaim the axis around which they turn. You are not only a consumer of images, you are a participant in reality, capable of remembering truths that no feed can replace. One day you will close the app and feel, for a moment, the raw silence behind the noise. That feeling is not boredom. It is the first taste of freedom. The question is no longer what the algorithm will show you next. The question is what you will choose to remember.